I always knew something was missing. Growing up in my adoptive family, I had love, warmth, stability, but there was a space in my chest, a quiet echo that no bedtime story or hug could fill. I would lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, asking questions I could never answer. Who am I? Why was I left behind? Did she ever think about me? I wasn't angry at my adoptive parents. They gave me a life most children could only dream of, but something deep inside me demanded the truth. I started my search in secret. When I was 16, public records, online forums, social media, anything that could give me a clue. It wasn't obsession, it was survival. Years passed, dead ends, wrong names, wrong addresses. Every lead that went nowhere broke me a little more. I started to believe maybe she didn't exist anymore, or maybe she didn't want to be found. But then, one rainy night, I stumbled across a thread that mentioned her town. Her married name, my heart skipped. Could it be her? I spent weeks piecing together scraps of information. Every detail mattered: birth dates, old friends, schools she might have attended. I made spreadsheets, I traced social media accounts. And then, finally, it happened. I found her address, it was real. She was alive, and I could go to her. I parked outside her small house in suburban Ohio. My hands shook. My stomach was full of butterflies, or maybe they were jagged pieces of anxiety. I had rehearsed the moment 1,000 times in my head. I imagined tears, apologies, maybe even anger. Anything but what actually happened. When she opened the door, I froze. She was older than I had pictured, but her eyes, they were exactly what I had imagined. "Hi," I whispered. I'm your daughter. I'm the baby you gave up." She looked at me for a long, silent moment. Then, flatly, "I don't want anything to do with you." The words hit me like a truck. I left without saying another word, feeling hollow, empty, betrayed by the universe. That day marked the start of a journey I could never have predicted, one that would force me to confront family secrets, hidden truths, and the darkest corners of human emotion. After that day, I couldn't stop thinking about her. Her words replayed in my mind endlessly. "I don't want anything to do with you." I kept asking myself, was I too much? Too late? Did she even remember me at all? I tried to reach out: letters, phone calls, but she ignored them. Each unanswered message felt like another layer of rejection. I felt anger, yes, but also a sorrow I couldn't put into words. I was mourning a mother who was alive. Then I started to investigate her past. I needed answers. I discovered she had a complicated life, marriage problems, family pressures, personal trauma. She had been young, scared, trapped in circumstances I could barely comprehend. And suddenly, some of her choices began to make sense, not in a way that excused her, but in a way that humanized her. I remember one night, scrolling through old public records, crying quietly at my desk. I realized the woman I had imagined, the perfect, loving mother, wasn't who she was. And yet, I still wanted her. I still wanted the connection I had dreamed about my whole life. I decided to confront her again. Cautiously, carefully, I called. She answered coldly. We argued. We shouted. Tears streamed down my face as I begged for some acknowledgement, any sign of feeling, and she gave nothing, only walls. Only refusal, only avoidance. It was devastating, and yet, in some strange way, it forced me to reflect on myself. I had been searching for someone else to validate my existence, but maybe the only validation I could truly have came from within. In the weeks that followed, I discovered more about her life, her choices, her fears, the secrets she had carried for decades. She had been coerced, silenced, and betrayed by those closest to her. She had made decisions out of fear, shame, and survival. Learning these truths shocked me. I had always viewed her as heartless, uncaring, but she was human, she was flawed. And in that moment, I realized that understanding doesn't mean condoning. It doesn't erase the pain, but it can explain it. I began to confront my own feelings. Guilt, anger, grief, they all collided inside me. I questioned why she left me, why she didn't want me, why my childhood had this missing piece. And I realized that in seeking her approval or love, I had been holding myself hostage to someone else's choices. This part of the journey wasn't easy. Nights spent crying, days spent replaying memories. Letters I wrote but never sent. I began to find solace in writing, in therapy, in conversations with friends who had similar experiences. Slowly, I started to reclaim my own narrative. It was during one quiet evening, staring at the rain outside my window, that I felt the first flicker of acceptance. I couldn't change her, I couldn't make her love me, but I could heal. I could take the fragments of my story and stitch them together into something whole. Months passed, I didn't hear from her, and yet the absence stopped feeling like an open wound. It became a space for reflection, for growth, for understanding. I began to see that closure doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes it means acceptance. I started to share my story, first quietly with friends, then more openly in forums, eventually even in public spaces. It was terrifying at first to admit the pain, the betrayal, the longing, but it became liberating. I realized my story could help others feel less alone. And slowly I forgave, not fully. Maybe, but enough to let go of the bitterness. I forgave her not because she deserved it, but because I deserved peace. I reclaimed my identity, my life, and my joy. I realized that family isn't always who gives birth to you, it's who chooses to love, support, and stand by you. If you felt abandoned, rejected, or left behind, know this: your story matters. Your pain is valid, but your healing is possible. Share your story, reach out, connect. You are not alone. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Every voice matters, every story deserves to be heard.